but they did, and that does count for something. Definitely the Kester Cup will give them a big lease of life coming into today, as they knew it was going to be a very, very tough matchup from the outset. But nonetheless, I just don't know how they're going to fare in that earlier stage against the team that have won every monthly final to date.
Well, we'll get there when we get there. I believe that's going to be our third matchup of the afternoon. But for now, it's going to be DOGSTER LOBSTER, number 4 in the region, taking on Not a Sincere.
Well, I've got to say, NAVI have had troublesome times, haven't they? Let's be honest. MMA, Cube, and Angel Boy on their side. But let's focus first on DOGSTER LOBSTER, Kanan, Tomsy, and Cyclone. A team that last year, again, had fantastic promise. In fact, they almost made the World Finals. Came a little bit short, but nonetheless, have really shown themselves as a worthy contender for this region. A team that could very well go all the way. And just having a couple of team issues doesn't necessarily help things. They have seemed to have ironed a lot of those things out now, and that's a fantastic thing to see.
Yeah, I feel like this is the team that has had really the chance to start popping off now in 2023. And with the issues they had early in the seasons, it kind of broke my heart a little bit, because it felt like this was their chance this year to really break apart from, some old habits of just barely not making it in tourneys. But it seems like, honestly, bringing Cyclone back may have been one of the best changes in recent memory for DOGSTER LOBSTER. As he's played with them before, there's still quite a bit of synergy with him, and he is quite a strong mechanical player. We both got, I think all three of us actually got them beating NAVI, so DOGSTER LOBSTER looking good so far.
Yeah, I agree. I think Cyclone's a very aggressive player. Best player in EU, as Joker would say. Let's focus now on to NAVI, of course. MMA, Cube, and Angel Boy, we all know and love them, but it has been a rough start to this year, no doubt about it. In terms of points on the leaderboards, have definitely been struggling to really earn them and to be even able to qualify as well. We saw them in February going out in the first round, but back now and looking to try to make better on that scoreline. And altogether, I think it's a great move as well, having that communication really be on point and just sharing in those victories and those all-important wins. Should they be able to earn them here today, will go surely a long way.
It's an important monthly final here for NAVI. They've also been, I won't say slacking, but it feels like they can definitely get more points on the leaderboards than they currently have. Though it's going to be a challenging one, and I do like the positive energy they're bringing in, somewhat relaxed and showing that, they're unfazed coming into this match and confident. I don't know if I would be as confident facing DOGSTER LOBSTER, but it's NAVI, and I feel like they always pull through the most unexpected wins when they need the most.
One thing you've got to say about NAVI is that this seems to be a common occurrence every single year. They have a slow start. They're slow burners, but they take those losses really on the chin and take responsibility for it and come together actually stronger. I mean, that as well is what my next point was going to lead on to, is the fact that they've got a tremendous community backing them, behind them, cheering them on. 92% of those watching over at event.brawlstars.com feel like they're going to get the win today. Only 8% for DOGSTER LOBSTER, but I'll be honest, having watched what I've seen over the past couple of months, I do feel like DOGSTER LOBSTER have got a lot more of a percentage, at least in my heart, going into this one. Shooting Star up first, and the band's already in. I do love to see that Meg ban. We'll talk a little bit more on that later, but Eve is the first draft there coming in. And also got to mention that Eve has had a new additional gear come into the mix, and it is a mythic one at that. So, being able to then spawn in more pets, with the quadruplets gear is going to make it a big factor. Nanny and Jean to add to the mix for DOGSTER LOBSTER, and that's always a good pairing.
Yeah, I like the Eve here a decent amount. Gives so much extra breathing room on your lane, just more space to navigate. And I agree, I think the new mythical gear is going to be very valuable as well, and just add a little bit more pressure. Gina, I think, is a decent way of dealing with it. Just spread across those shots and make sure all the hatchlings are low enough that they don't quite manage to make it all the way to their target. And Nani, I mean, we've seen it time and time again on Shooting Star, one of the staples of this map. I definitely do like them bring that brawler in. We'll have to Sprout as next pick here for NAVI. I mean, there's not tons of options when it comes to throwers, and Tick would probably be the best one, but as it is banned out, I think Sprout is second best, and it's good enough here for NAVI.
Yeah, I don't mind at all. would like maybe to have seen a Grom myself, but nonetheless, I think that the bans are very important here as well. RT as well had a recent slight tweak, slight nerf, but only to his super really. V is always going to pack a heavy sting here. But obviously I would like to have seen that Max combined with that Gene, but it's banned out, and there is the Grom that I do kind of prefer here. So I am favouring myself a little bit more towards the DOGSTER LOBSTER comp. I think Nani here as well is going to be able to get a lot of value, extending that range massively so, and assert some pressure and some authority. I think for Cyclone or whoever is on that Gene on the side of DOGSTER LOBSTER, they're going to be quite cautious in the respect that obviously the B can drop the honey molasses and you just pull back that instead of the B, and ideally if B's got amplified shot, you don't want to be pulling that one anyway. The E-spawnables as well, definitely going to be causing a problem. So I think the biggest attribute there on the side of Navi is the comp going up against that Gene. So it's just about how they're able to really utilize their strategy going into this one and capitalize down, because I think in that respect they have a chance here.
Yeah, I think on the side of DOGSTER LOBSTER, it's going to be about trying to just run through all of the utility that Navi has, right? Whether it's for the Gene pools or for the Nani peeps, they're going to have to burn gadgets or maybe Sprout Wolves as well to tank the peeps, and that's going to be a limited amount that you have available for yourself. Blue Star on the side of Navi, we did have some changes to Bounty as well, so first to 20 will win, but usually on Shooting Star we don't quite get to 20 stars.
I'm going to be paying very close attention to that scoreboard, though. Wouldn't it be great to see in the first monthly final, since that change in EMEA, that change come into full force and have a really epic conclusion? But so far, can't really say much to the epicness of this one, as there is just that Blue Star, and there is the Honey Molasses tanking there for the peep. But I think the DOGSTER LOBSTER, they've got to keep that rolling in, exacerbate those gadgets along the way, and ensure that when Kanan can get that pull to hand, that he can really land it at just the right moment, because there's so much against him in this moment in time. MMA, though, healed up. He was very low, about 165 HP earlier on there, so cutting it a bit fine. But so far, I would say that in terms of positioning power, DOGSTER LOBSTER are doing pretty well at holding themselves well in the mid. Missed pull from Kanan, though, and that could prove costly. That's the first one he's had, and there's only 45 seconds left.
Yeah, not a whole lot of time, enough potentially. Cyclone low HP, but nicely done by his teammates, creating some space, making sure he can heal up. Now a Grom Bomb is available as well, but MMA does always have his gadget to jump away if need be. Getting into the final 25 seconds, DOGSTER LOBSTER still a singular star behind. The hatchling's not really going to be finding a whole lot of value as the Watchtower from Tomzy tanks it up. And now a final push from DOGSTER LOBSTER to try to get a kill and steal away this game. MMA is low HP, falls. That might just be enough as Navi push up, try to get a trade. The pull connects onto Angel Boy, but he's the one that ends up going down, and 3 stars make it only 1 now as MMA gets a final kill, but it is DOGSTER LOBSTER that will be picking up game number 1.
Solid stuff. Those moments towards the ends of Bounty as well can be very troublesome. Some great body blocking there. Kanan was incredibly low, was able to stay on his feet there as well. I really like to see that from a team like DOGSTER LOBSTER, really just being able to make those moments count. And Navi were very cautious for the majority of that game. They didn't really give them much of a look, and it was those final moments that really did come in clutch, and that all-important pull that Kanan hits at the end as well really did make a big difference there.
Absolutely. Blue Star, again, going to be picked up by NAVI, giving them the early advantage and the advantage of defense as well. Let's see if DOGSTER LOBSTER can bring it back as they did in game 1. They do have a pretty decent mid-game so far, pushing them way back in spawn and getting quite a lot of tags. A peep is going to be available for Cyclone. He's not going to be popping it just yet. He's very low HP, and he needs to be careful of any aggression coming in from Cube on the right side. It does have that supercharged shot, connects it onto Kanan. It's not going to result in any kills, but nevertheless, some value here and there. A minute left on the clock, and Navi are going to have to fend off all those attacks from DOGSTER.
Cube's doing great work there, has got the amplified shot to hand, but Cyclone will also have returned to sender. That is a concern. MMA again going down to 180 HP, and that is definitely not placing Navi into a good spot. Cube now low as well on the right hand side, surviving on as a result of that honeycomb shield, but then on the left hand side, Tom gets a very important pickup. The takedown of Angel Boy brings them 2 stars, 1 star ahead now. That could be crucial here as we go into the final 30 seconds.
Cyclone still sitting on his peep. Kanan has a gene pool as well. Final push starting to come in here for Navi. And oh, that is a poor gadget from Q. And he gets punished for it a little bit too late on the trigger. He goes down. Oh, it's 3 stars in favor of DOGSTER, LOBSTER, Blue Star on their side as well. Another pickup from Cyclone on the right-hand side, and surely DOGSTER, LOBSTER should be able to defend here, as MMA is going to get pulled as well and taken out eventually by Tomsy. DOGSTER, LOBSTER was a much more dominant second game, securing now set number 1.
Tough start for NAVI. DOGSTER played it perfectly, didn't they? Let's be honest. I mean, the majority of that game, they had the positioning power. When it wasn't in their favor, it's because they chose for it to not be, just going back upon themselves and just keeping that control. I'm not sure that MMA got a super that entire time. I didn't see the Mythic gear even coming into full force, as it does provide an extra spawnable. Yeah, it has had a tough matchup there, and didn't really thrive off the back of it, but just the aggressiveness of DOGSTER, LOBSTER and that control-based ability was what really shone for me there.
Yeah, they played it fantastically, you know, and as I kind of mentioned in the beginning, I feel like burning through the utility from NAVI was very important, making sure they just can't, dodge the pools with a jump or honey molasses. I think there were a lot of mistakes from NAVI, like this kill here on Cube should never realistically be happening at this level of play. But maybe some nerves and a bit of a warm-up game here for the first set could justify that. Nevertheless, it gives NAVI a little bit less room to breathe getting into the rest of the series, as they'll be kicking off the match with a 1-set deficit.
Here we see the stats as well, and, it's a tough thing to look on the right-hand side, isn't it? Looking at MMA, just that 1 kill there, but it was one more than everyone else on his team. And look at the amount of DPS over NAVI from the side of DOGSTER, LOBSTER as well. Everyone doing their bit, and not a single player on the side of NAVI into triple figures there, so definitely a troublesome start for them. Gonna have to go back to the drawing board, really kind of think things through just a little bit as to how they're going to be turning this one around. And I've got to be honest, it kind of has to start with the draft. I'm kind of liking what I've already seen, to be honest. I mean, getting Meg out of the mix will maybe have a chance to discuss a bit more about as to why, because obviously Meg's had that rework recently now where she will spawn in mecha form. We saw it already today in the APAC region, just how dominant Meg really was faring, so I'm glad to see it being banned as well. If you're on the side of DOGSTER, LOBSTER, they choose to keep it open, and NAVI really capitalized down on that. We know that NAVI are a team that really like to combine healers into the mix, and that is where Meg is really proving to be a big problem. Let's see though, as the ban's coming in now. No one's banned Meg. It's going to be a first pick here for me. Poker's available as well. The bans on the side of NAVI were Stu, B, and Max, and aggressiveness is the way to counter Meg, having spoken to a lot of the pro players in the scene. Many of them finding that Meg's a bit overwhelming to deal with. Some of them are saying the way to handle it was sheer aggression. Nita coming in for DOGSTER, LOBSTER as the first pick, and there is now an epic gear for Nita as well, being able to provide more damage on the side of Brooks. So that's a consideration here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know 100% if it's necessarily a must-pick gear when it comes to Brawl, to be completely honest. But it may very much come in play. And I was thinking as well, this sort of bros that NAVI really like as well. We see them running the Nita so often, so straight up snatching away from them, and I was kind of expecting them to take it. As you mentioned, Meg, a very strong pick, very early pick you want to bring in as well, and NAVI are going to be taking advantage of the fact that DOGSTER didn't quite go for it, to take it for themselves and take the spike with it, to just remove one of those heavy damage dealers that can deal quite well with Meg, and with enough range as well to do so without endangering himself too much. And I feel like their bans kind of lined up with the fact that they wanted Meg, as they took out Stu and B, which deal quite decently with Meg as well.
It's kind of funny because literally, as I was saying, going into this draft, the one thing that might be able to help NAVI here is exactly the draft that's playing out. If they don't go for, Crow's good, no doubt about it. Definitely going to be keeping that tick damage over time onto the Meg. But is a Carl as well. I'm faring with NAVI here. They got Poker wide open here. And it's really difficult to deal with a Meg and a Poker combined in that force, considering how Meg is just throttled her way into the forefront now of the meta. DOGSTER, LOBSTER, if they are able to contend with this combo, they haven't even picked the third brawler on the side of NAVI yet. It will be a huge testament to them to be able to gain the set off the back of this draft so far, but I am very much sided here with NAVI. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer. Buzz, okay, doubling down on aggression. I don't necessarily mind it. I think the poker would have been possibly a little bit better in terms of keeping Meg's survivability there, but we've got to consider the fact that Meg has also, though, had a little bit of a nerf to her damage, and that is a consideration there. But nonetheless, we've seen it running riot. I don't think you can really go wrong with it, but maybe DOGSTER LOBSTER have got something up their sleeve here. I mean, every team that we're going to see today in the EMEA region has come well prepared, despite there being a recent update, despite the balance changes really causing a ruckus in the meta. You know, they have got a strategy, no doubt about it, and I'm looking to see how it fares for them.
Yeah, the buzz to me is going to be a direct reaction to the Carl, right? Try to make sure that if he gets into a super, he's not going to be staying in one for long. Angel Boy does get the kill, but a quick trade from Cyclone. I have to be careful on the trades on the side of DOGSTER LOBSTER, because if the Meg is up, has enough HP and damage to cause a lot of trouble in even 2v2. Let's see. DOGSTER LOBSTER now have a bit more control. Some nice connections again from Cyclone, but he's low HP himself. Kanan did get fed nearly an entire bear from an early aggression from Angel Boy, but he doesn't have it quite yet. And a play from Angel Boy, and that one goes straight into the net. NAVI was a wonderful start there due to an individual play from Angel Boy.
Fantastic stuff, really was. Got to remember though that Meg will have passive healing now in the turret form, into the mech form, sorry. Pass over to Angel Boy. Potential here for a gadget if he wants to try to get behind this movement here from DOGSTER LOBSTER, but playing it slow, just taking care of business in the backside there. Kanan's in a great spot here. Thomas as well with the flying hook could go in here. Not going to happen. Pass to the left, and now the ball safely away, and a bit of a miss there for me from DOGSTER. They were in a good spot, commanding position, but now low HP is going to force them back just a little bit, and Cube able to work around that wall so stupendously there.
Kanan does a bear now, that's going to help, but a nice stun from Angel Boy, finds the kill, and there's no trade inside just yet. Cyclone will eventually find a connection. Cube is still up on the right-hand side, and even though he doesn't deal a lot of damage when he's not in his mech, he can still reset heals just the same. Cyclone has jumped, Tomzy has super as well. There's also two supers for NAVI to try to fend off this attack. Cyclone is low, doesn't quite get his jump off. Angel Boy is going to be able to chain supers there as well. Claim a nice two-piece, and with low time, there might be a chance for NAVI to just play it safe, play defensive, and lock in this game.
Well, Cube's got super now as well, but worth to mention as well that did also receive a nerf. The field to field swipe is definitely not as strong as it used to be, but now with the positioning power they've got, 10 seconds remain, and DOGSTER LOBSTER are the ones that have got to make a play here. NAVI have got all the time in the world, they can put the ball into the corner if they want. Cyclone's got no super to jump on it, and it goes there, not enough time. NAVI start to put something on the board, and that is a huge relief for them, no doubt about it.
A strong game from them. I think a lot of mistakes, and I would even say blunders from DOGSTER LOBSTER, as we can see exactly right here. The positioning should have been better, I think, on DOGSTER LOBSTER to try to prevent those sort of actions, but props to Angel Boy. He spots an opening, seizes it, and absolutely delivers here for NAVI at a moment where they desperately needed it as well. Let's see if they can provide this sort of effort again here in game 2 of Brawl, where DOGSTER LOBSTER are going to be more cautious.
Angel Boy again cycling. Pass through from Cube, but Angel Boy's too weak to be able to contest it. Tomzy full HP. Misses the shot though, that could prove costly, but the defense just off the line. Crucial for DOGSTER LOBSTER, but can NAVI still make something of this? Not going to happen. Tomzy on the right hand side takes down Cube, and that's going to allow a little bit more of a breathing space to push the ball forwards.
Angel Boy cornering up the ball, knows that early on they do need to be careful about how they approach things, especially if he doesn't have super to work with. Nice tanks from Cube onto Kanan, just keeping him low HP. Trying to prevent him from healing up, and he does so successfully as well. And just straight up going to be feeding that bust super on the right-hand side. Tomzy wants to go aggressive. It does pay off as he gets a kill, but it's quickly traded up by Cube. 1-on-1 now, but I'm not sure if Cyclone can really go for a play here and think slow down NAVI in defense, but we saw how strong their defense was in the previous game.
Yeah, it's a chance to reset things out a little bit here. Cube very low here. Cyclone knows it, wants to keep the poison tapping in, but can't quite connect the shots. Hayden as well has got Bruce, but now the stun coming through from Angel Boy, who's absolutely been on a tear all time. Cycling in again, the jump just in time there from Cyclone, but that could have been a crucial opening there for Navi to be able to capitalise on. Wasn't to be. Now DOGSTER LOBSTER have got a real opportunity. No goals on the scoreboard here, so if DOGSTER LOBSTER can secure something in this position, great slowing toxin there from Cyclone, really causing a stir here, but somehow Navi are keeping the ball in their possession and able to work around the situation, and it just seems like no matter what DOGSTER LOBSTER throw at this, they can't bail it to a goal.
Overtime might be a problem for Navi though, and DOGSTER LOBSTER are aware of this. Playing it slow might be a wise idea. Just wait up for most of the walls to open up as overtime comes in. Could be the difference maker. Angel Boy gonna take control of the ball. It's not really like he can shoot at anyone now anyways. Might consider cornering it up until he gets a super, or just pushing forward instead. Gets his super now, there might be a chance to make a play. Can he get it? He goes for the shot, doesn't really line it up nicely there. Cube is low HP, big super from Tomsy, but he goes down. Cube out of the mech now as well. It's a 2-on-2. It seems like Navi, they're gaining some ground.
Got hands to Cyclone there, did a tremendous job on defense, but surely now Navi are all over this. He gets the ball, he jumps in, able to secure it. A second solid defense from Cyclone, but he's got no help, and that is the concern. A super shot here, not going to take any chances, goes to Cube, has the shield, gets the goal. Beautiful stuff, and Navi are looking much, much better than when we started.
It was close at the end there in overtime, but MMA clutching it up. A beautiful pass from Cube as well to secure this one. They needed this set and they absolutely delivered. I feel like that early goal from Angel Boy in game 1 was really the spark of hope they needed to just, get that confidence boost. And after that, they started dominating more and more, because at the end of the day, in the first game, I did really feel like DOGSTER LOBSTER were kind of playing better, just getting more positioning across the map and just more presence on the enemy side of the map. But Navi, they could afford to just play it very defensively, and in game 2 they got that clutch final goal as well, and just seizing the few opportunities that DOGSTER LOBSTER gave to them and making the most out of them. A nice try from Cyclone there towards the end, but it wasn't quite enough. Navi shining here in Brawl Ball, one of their favorite game modes, we all know it, but they did it. They just played really well here.
Yeah, Cyclone did a great job there on defense. Wasn't quite enough. Got to draw attention as well to Angel Boy there with the 11 takedowns. Phenomenal stuff from him, and that bus pick, I've got to say, really did cut the mustard. It's more like Navi to go with a heal-based idea, but now that, Meg's able to passively heal over time, it allows Angel Boy to really thrive off the back of that really aggressive idea. And, I've still got to question the use of Gadget, though, a little bit on the side of the Meg going in with the toolbox. We've seen Navi do that a lot, to be fair, but nonetheless, normally against a B or something to be able to tank those shots, but they seem to feel like that now with the passive healing to Meg, that Jolting Bolts isn't nearly as as viable as an option. That bringing toolbox is a little bit of an indirect buff almost. We're also hearing just to say as well that Zeka will not be subbing in on the side of DOGSTER LOBSTER, a team which sometimes do make some changes here, but going into Gold Gulch now for knockout, and that last set for Navi now really is going to bring in something of. I'm not being funny, but Meg is still viable here. She's not banned. Now they're going to be picking in Max as their first choice, banning out the B, the Bell, and the Daryl. On the side of DOGSTER LOBSTER, a very first early draft there, Bonnie. Very, very normal to see that being, given so much attention to in this particular region, but the bans being Gene, Tick, and RT.
I like the Bonnie here. Speed gear, just stay in the bushes, get an extra speed, and the map is practically only long-range fights, besides some particular angles around the mid. So I do like that pick quite a bit. Eve is an interesting one here for me. We've seen it here before. It's not like a big surprise either, since Eve got buffed as well by her new gear. It does make sense to see some playtime from her, but not necessarily my favorite buster. On the other hand, it's something quite wild to me. I mean, maybe I'm missing something, but it's not really an expected pick for me on Golden Gulch.
I would agree. I mean, It's something that I would expect to see more from the side of Navi. Not to dig at their drafts in any way, but I do kind of prefer to see other things combined with the Max. Let's see what they choose to add to the mix, and maybe they've got a strategy up their sleeve here. But so far for me, I do prefer what DOGSTER LOBSTER have got. Definitely Bonnie as well in knockout, especially, can really cause a problem. Leon going to come in for Navi. We have seen a bit of a rise in Leon play, primarily in maps like Ring of Fire for Hot Zone and also for Shooting Star and Bounty. I can't remember the last time I've really seen it thrive in Golden Gulch, but nonetheless, it's definitely one of those brawlers that is very underrated, but just a bit map and mode specific. Let's see now, as DOGSTER LOBSTER have got the final say here, and I'm already preferring what they're bringing in terms of their comp. I think that as long as Navi have got a plan and a strategy behind their ideas here, because we haven't really seen much of Buster, let's be honest. Probably going to come in for them. It didn't work out in Brawl, but they're going to see whether it will work out in Knockout.
I'm kind of worried for this come from Navi, to be honest. The Buster is a big question mark for sure, but even the Leon, as you mentioned, is not really a brawler that's on the top of the meta at the moment. It's not necessarily awful either. I can definitely see it work, but I don't know. Lots of uncertainty for me regarding this Navi comp, and I really want to see how they approach this. There's only going to be one way to find out, and that's once we battle it out in game. And we're ready to start here, as we'll be seeing Kanan on the right-hand side, Cyclone on the left, Tomzy playing more around mid, and the camera is starting to follow along now.
I'm kind of like making mental notes as to where people are not playing Meg when it's not banned, because ultimately we've seen so much Meg play in Apex already today in places that you wouldn't normally see. But a great gadget there from Cube. Gets the takedown on the shores. It's beautiful stuff. Navi coming together so well, and it's just Kanan left all alone. Great stuff from them, and this is a very tough comp to make work. There's no doubt about it. But that opening stance there from Navi, to me, speaks volumes.
It's a crazy start from Navi, absolutely crazy, and I mean, it's the Buster out of all of them as well to find that early value. Kanan is going to try to get a super of his own, as everyone has super on the Navi side. Anyways, there's no supers to feed besides Kanan's. He's not really given any opportunities, and he's going to go down before he unlocks it. Let's see how round 2 is going to go, as Navi have pretty much all the utility in the world to work with. Immediately a lollipop drop going to be placed down on the top. MMA is in this, trying to catch someone off guard. Just goes for a couple of tags and falls back.
So, slower start now for Navi. Lollipop drop there for MMA. Will keep that shielding, and he could choose to go there on the top side, but no longer, as the thing gets taken down by Kanan. It's looking better from DOGSTER LOBSTER so far, as they start to keep this pinch coming in for speed, coming in there from Angel Boy. Cube going on the aggressive. Tomzy low here. Big jump there from Cyclone, and they do manage to get a takedown to Cube along the way. It's now 3 versus 2, and the tides might be turning here for DOGSTER LOBSTER.
A bit of a missed opportunity from Navi, I think. They started the round with 3 supers, and all they got from using all 3 of them was just feeding DOGSTER LOBSTER supers instead. Wise decision goes down to the gas to not feed Navi's. We did have some gas changes as well in knockout now percentage base, so not the usual 1K. Doesn't change much for Max though, but it is interesting to think about if we get to the later stages. So far we haven't quite gotten there in a round.
We've seen again all that utility in the last round, but now it didn't work out too well, but maybe it's second time lucky for them. Like to see something of an aggressive play from MMA and as well. Now, speed coming in from Angel Boy, and the pinch is strong. Great shielding there from Cube, and a lot of damage coming down, and DOGSTER LOBSTER are bang in trouble. Kanan low, Cyclone low, and there, down goes another 3 versus 2 yet again. And now a sigh of relief as Navi can hide behind this wall and just buy their time down just a little bit more. What a turnaround for them, as it looked bleak in that last round. But now they should have this one in the bag, but they cannot slip. If they do that, and this could be turned around still by DOGSTER LOBSTER. They're just going to buy down the clock, keep the control, and keep their HP high.
The max speed Buster pool is a brutal combination here. Cyclone, he just has nowhere to go. Goes down. Kanan is next in line. It's going to be Navi now, taking over the lead by just 1 game. It's a strong one as well, considering how dominant they looked in this game. It's going to be scary here for DOGSTER, LOBSTER don't want to be a set behind, and they need to contest this one.
It's looking great for NAVI so far. I really do admire the way that they've gone into this and just chosen a really out there kind of idea, but it is working more often than it's not. But we have seen a few cracks there shown in DOGSTER LOBSTER capitalized, so let's see whether they can do just that again and get themselves a better start this time round and just ease the pressure up a little bit. Angel Boy doing just that, pressurizing Cyclone, getting him down to 1,300 HP. Kanan as well, out of position here, has to jump away there. Just the nick of time, gotta go. But they're not out of the woods by any means at all. Again, another shielding the Cyclone, just keeping that right-hand side at bay, and that does alleviate a lot of the pressure. Great stuff from him, but again, I love to see how NAVI are being so aggressive, but overly aggressively so there. Angel Boy goes down, QB incredibly low, ticks down to Cyclone. Fantastic start for DOGSTER LOBSTER.
I love this approach from DOGSTER LOBSTER. They pretend like they're gonna fall for the exact same traps that NAVI have set up. Instead, they bait 2 gadgets from Cubes. The gadget that practically won them the first set. Now he only has 1 to go, and DOGSTER LOBSTER is already up by 1 round. Perhaps Link's not gonna find a whole lot of value. TomZ though caught off guard, but MMA doesn't dare to commit. And TomZ nearly doesn't, but he will get away for the time being.
Flying Toxin there, not going to get much value there, just on Angel Boy, and Cyclone will need to do a little bit better. A little smile there from Cube as he probably is hinting towards that very idea. Speed though coming in there again from Angel Boy as well, as the smoke trails coming in on the top there from MMA. It's 1 takedown, 2 takedown, only 1 more to go. Now you respond with aggression in a beautiful turnaround.
Yeah, NAVI as well don't really need to go on the hunt. They have 2 players with their brawler picks that, will be able to reload their super without committing to any fights. They just passively get their supers back. So they'll have 2 supers to use getting into this one. And DOGSTER LOBSTER, they do have 1. Let's see if they can put it to good use, as NAVI is ready for some more aggression. Don't have any buster pulls though, and again, we did see how valuable that gadget was.
This is such an important round. NAVI claim it. There'll be a set ahead, and that is huge against the team which are really doing fantastic work at the moment. MMA trickling down 12 HP and does pop. The jumping from TomZ, aggressively done, but Cube is able to hang on just a little bit longer. 3 versus 2, and that does give a huge advantage here for DOGSTER LOBSTER, as long as they don't get overly aggressive here. Just got to heal up, keep the control. Angel Boy, 240 HP, surely just waiting for the gas here. Cube got done, gets some value for it, gets the takedown as well. Oh my word, it's a 2v2 now, and NAVI have got a chance.
TomZ in trouble as well. He might go down to Cube. Cube loves that close range fight. Cyclone gets him low HPs at 1v2. They're both low.
Wow!
It's gonna be Angel Boy that survives at the end of the trades. And NAVI, they will be locking in this set.
Unbelievable scenes here as NAVI defy the odds. What an important moment for them, and surely the confidence displayed in that very idea gonna feed into this next set. They're smiling. I can completely understand why.
Dude, it was looking fantastic for DOGSTER LOBSTER. It felt like they really figured out the strategy from NAVI, and sure, even in that game, they did concede the second round as well, but it felt like, they were kind of okay with it, because they come in with some supers for the third one. Cube has no more gadgets, and his gadgets have been the main problem, but even though he doesn't have any gadgets, he still hits them with an insane play. We talked about the synergy between Max and Buster, getting that speed and then going for a pull. He had no speed, no pulls when he brought that one back, and still managed to turn around the set here for NAVI. Beautiful stuff from him.
Love some of these replays. I really do. Cube did phenomenal there in those final moments as well. Just didn't, so often we see teams just kind of settle for the gas. In my opinion, maybe sometimes at too much of an earlier stage, but not to be for NAVI. 4 kills across the board there. Thompson did a bit of a rough round there for DOGSTER LOBSTER. Cyclone did pretty well, though, on the side of things, had the most kills out of anyone, and the DPS was high on the side of DOGSTER LOBSTER, which begs the question, what they're going to have to do in this next set to try to stop NAVI in their tracks. I can tell you that Zyaku is subbing in for Kanan, So that is, in their idea, something which is going to give them the advantage. We do see a lot of substitutions on the side of DOGSTER LOBSTER. We kind of questioned it going into knockout, and it wasn't to be, but now it is their strategy. But NAVI have got a commanding lead in this position now. And again, especially when you consider their performance so far this year in the BSC, it hasn't been great. They need this win, and they've got so much going for them now. A risky draft, it really was a bit out there, let's be honest, but it paid off, and that's what is remembered in these kind of matches.
Every single point here for the qualifying for the World Finals is going to be so valuable for NAVI, but also potentially taking some away from DOGSTER LOBSTER, which is setting quite comfortably high up there in the leaderboards for now. It might go a long way as well in trying to catch up. They're not there yet. They still need to pick up a set, but they're one ahead, and that's giving them the opportunity to do exactly that and try to hurt what hurts most for DOGSTER.
Exactly. Yeah, when they got the momentum in your favor, you've got to keep it riding in. And, I think that was the time to experiment more with the draft for NAVI. I think for me, having watched them have some pretty out there ideas in the past, I think they're going into parallel plays, and it's a great map. Great to see it back, let's be honest. They should maybe consider being a little bit more traditional here, as they have got that cushioning in their favor. But nonetheless, it's NAVI. More often than not, they won't do that, and they'll still sometimes make it work. So I'm all for it. But nonetheless, definitely a map and mode which is definitely going to be very different in terms of how this one plays out. This is going to be much more about securing those positioning and also having something aggressive on those right-hand side lanes to really contest your opposition.
Yeah, I just want to point out again, getting into knockout was not necessarily the best start of the match here for NAVI. They go for two just completely off meta picks and still managed to look incredibly dominant. That's 4 games in a row now, and you talked about momentum, and they got a ton of them riding into parallel plays, and it's looking dangerous now. It's looking scary if you're a DOGSTER LOBSTER fan, and we all predicted DOGSTER to pick this one up, and it seems like so far the NAVI Nation may be right this time.
Well, it's a chance to reset. Definitely we can see the strain being felt there on the side of DOGSTER LOBSTER. They've got to knuckle down now and no more chances, and it does feel like the energy is much more with NAVI. You can see almost the adrenaline just going through the veins of MMA there. It's such an important set for them, and they know it. We haven't really seen much from them all year long, but this is their chance to make their mark. And as I mentioned earlier, they are a team which really look back upon their performances and smile in the faces of those that fault them and pick holes in their abilities. And this was exactly what we're seeing here today. We saw them go out in the first round to Reply Totem. That was a rough start for them in February, but this could be their chance to land themselves in the semi-finals here. Parallel plays, the Hot Zone coming in, and, again, I'm just going to go out there and say Meg, just simply because at the moment it's viable everywhere, but the only place we've not really seen her picked or banned so far has been our last map there of Coldham Gulch. So let's see. Ultimately, I think that it could work quite well on the right-hand side, to be honest, especially now with the passive healing over time. Meg is really difficult to shake off the map, and that's kind of crucial here. But nonetheless, we've seen a big drop-off of brawlers like Gale, who were fantastic on this particular map back in the previous meta, and it is going to be that. I rate it. I absolutely rate it. Bans of B, Stu, and Jesse on the side of NAVI. I do like the Jesse ban as well, by the way. It's actually quite a viable option here. Sorry, on the side of DOGSTER LOBSTER. On the other side of things, for NAVI, there's a ban of Carl, as well as the Penny and the B as well. Ash is a big pickup, and a Lou from DOGSTER LOBSTER. Very nice ideas from them. Spike adding to the mix for NAVI.
I would kind of like to see maybe an Amber being so strong in paper. I haven't quite seen it played out in competitive yet, but I don't see why it wouldn't be very strong. And this seems like a pretty good map for it as well. Tons of grasses and narrow hallways here and there as well that you can really utilize that slowing. So
maybe the gear, yeah.
Yeah, I really like the idea of it. We'll see if either teams want to commit to that, and we'll see it on the side of NAVI. And dude, having the Amber and the Mag, I mean, sure, you're still facing an Ash, which is an incredibly brawly to face, but you do have quite a bit of utility in your tool belt to make it work. So I could see this being really, really scary for DOGSTER LOBSTER.
I love it. I absolutely love it. You know, stick out the left-hand side lane. If the Ash goes there, then you're able to get your super so incredibly quickly, burn down the bush, see everything coming, and now again with that new gear, that mythic gear coming for the mix of sticky oil, then you're going to have that additional slow to add to everything as well, and that is so troublesome, especially maps with little choke sides as well. It's going to run a riot. Janet is going to come in for DOGSTER LOBSTER, but I still feel like Navi have got a killer comp here. If they can make this work, this could be a done and dusted. I feel like DOGSTER LOBSTER now have really got to rise to the table and show this comp for all it's worth. Can they do it? Absolutely so. Have they got the skills to it? 100%. But this is a ballsy move from Navi, and I love it.
I like it too. I mean, we went from 2 off-meta picks to probably the 2 most meta picks when it comes to the most recent balance changes. Let's see how this goes down. Already Angel Boy aggressing the left side. Tomzy aggressive on the right as well. Is going to get into the zone, but takes so much damage. Is forced to pop a gadget, and the swipe from Cube will settle that fight. At the end of the day, though, a couple more percentages on the top right are going to be going the way of DOGSTER LOBSTER, but with Cube in the zone, Navi quickly equalizing down.
What a start for Navi. I mean, it's going super on the aggressive. Some interesting lane ideas, not to what I was expecting, but nonetheless, it's working. And that's what matters. Tomzy now in a real difficulty here. Low HP and a 1v3. Everyone from DOGSTER LOBSTER in their spawn. And Navi just got to secure this so they can just go back and do the rest later. I mean, this is phenomenal. Completely not what we expected. And what a time to show it. They're in full control of this situation. I mean, DOGSTER LOBSTER are just all over the place at this point.
Yeah, this is looking like the beginning of the end for DOGSTER LOBSTER, as Navi have double the percentage time pretty much than what DOGSTER were able to achieve, and it's looking like they'll just lock it in with MMA in the zone to secure it. The team captain to close this one out and get Navi all the way up to match point. A single game away now from moving on to the semifinals, knocking out DOGSTER LOBSTER.
I'm impressed. I've got to say, I am impressed because Navi have had a lot of difficulties. You know, in the Kessler Cup, losing to SK Gaming, losing to Foot Esports, big contenders, especially Foot at the moment in the BSC, and they are making this look easy. I hate to say it, but they actually are. And the draft is where it's really coming into full force, and that's probably for me a weaker of the areas for Navi. But they've got to maintain it. That's the thing. And so far, so good on this right-hand side, keeping Tomzy at bay as Angel Boy on the left-hand side going in on Ziaku, placing down the oil there, and Sticky there as well. Sticky oil is showing its form, so the gear is in motion as well. Cyclone's stuck in between a rock and a hard place there in the mid and can't really move away or get away from the situation. But I feel at the moment that the momentum is very much with Navi, just taking their time here, and that's never a bad thing.
Certainly not. Tomzy, low HP, slowly but surely resetting. It's looking much better than the previous game so far. Shaku building up a lot of control as well. MMA finds Tomzy on the right lane, and that means that now Navi, they're able to start creating some more space, some more pressure onto DOGSTER LOBSTER. Shaku has flight as well, but he can't really commit. Is gonna try it, and there's no help onto Angel Boys, but he's dodging so wonderfully well. He might even end up winning that fight. He will do exactly that. And now there's a big weakness on the left-hand side. Angel Boy looking to abuse it. The Flames will be connecting as well, but no need. Cube finds a kill onto Cyclone, and Cube has found his way into the zone. It's gonna go down, but 3% now in favor of Navi, and seeing how defensive their comp is, it's a scary prospect here for DOGSTER LOBSTER.
It really is. Angel Boy, they stunned out. It's only 3% in it, remember? So if DOGSTER LOBSTER can just try to secure a takedown here on Cube and keep MMA low, drop the base there from Zek for that very reason, takes to the skies and gets some damage onto Cube as well. But Tomzy couldn't quite close the gap, does so in the end. But if Zek can get that takedown, he'll be able to land himself on his own, and they have done just that. In the meanwhile, Angel Boy is doing the same on the other side of the field. It's neck and neck at the moment between these two teams, but it is still match point for Navi.
Couple percent for Navi. DOGSTER, as their backs against the wall, need to aggress, but also make sure that their left side holds up and that their defense is strong enough to keep Navi away. Tomzy in big time trouble. Shiaku trying to confirm the kill. Will do just that on the left-hand side. With 25 seconds left, they have yet to get back into that top right zone, and they need to do so if they don't want to be eliminated from the April monthly finals.
Dak is doing great work, but he's got to get super really quick to get on that zone. But in the meanwhile, Tomzy is doing as well. He's got no gadgets, no pop the pill there available to him. Great stuff from Cyclone. 66-67, DOGSTER LOBSTER take the lead and survive on a little bit longer, but only just, and they know it. There's a chance, a real chance though now, that this could go to a fifth and final set. But they cannot drop the ball, they cannot go back into their old ways, and Navi continues to keep up so much of a fight. It's a neck-and-neck battle now, much different to what we saw in the previous set.
Phenomenal comeback here in the nick of time as well for DOGSTER LOBSTER, but they're far from being out of trouble just yet. Still a match point to fend off, and still a really strong Navi comp, but we did see, you know, the ideas behind DOGSTER LOBSTER's comp, and I think Shiaku played a phenomenal game for game 2 here. Just getting so much value on the left-hand side. Cyclone popping off now as well, pushing up in the zone and starting early on to get some percentages locked in for DOGSTER LOBSTER in enemy territory. A trade perhaps there between MMA and Cyclone should be. Tomzy is able to get it. Cube doesn't quite go for the swipe, and instead he's going to go down, so loses it all together. Tomzy will fall, but it is going to be a bit of an early lead for DOGSTER LOBSTER, not in total percentages, but in percentage locked in on the enemy side of the map.
Yeah, and that's really crucial to remember there, because, I mean, that's 70% effectively once they were able to capture their own, and a huge momentum boost for them to get that early start. And like you mentioned, Zeka doing great work, because getting Angel Boy out of that left-hand side lane is so crucial from preventing Navi from doing exactly what they've done in the previous outset of this game. So Cube going down now as well, not able to stay in mecha form. Seems to be a bit of a common occurrence this time round, as the aggressiveness of DOGSTER LOBSTER really shining. Tomzy clearing of the right-hand side in is massive, huge stuff for DOGSTER LOBSTER. Once they secure that, they can just focus on their own zone, and that's in their spawn.
Yeah, that is quite important, but at the same time, there's a full HP mech into DOGSTER LOBSTER's zone now. Cube just holding on to that position for the time being, and considering they already locked in their zone, they might not even need to go back in defense. If they can just hold on to this aggressive position, they could lock it in right here, right now. Cube low HP, 91% now for Navi. Cube will go out of his mech, but is that going to be enough now? 6% left of Flames as well to create some space. They're trying to make it happen, but maybe rushing it as well as they end up going down. Everyone falls on the side of Navi, and Shiaku is trying desperately to get back into that aggressive position he locked in earlier. But I don't know if that's going to be enough. Navi are so close to the finish line. Cyclone is burning up as well. Angel Boy should be able to survive, but no, he doesn't. He goes down. Is there enough time here? They're in the zone, a couple percentages behind. I think they may have miscalculated, because right now Cube is going to lock it in for Navi. It's 1% that will knock DOGSTER LOBSTER out of this bracket, and Navi go to the semifinals.
Only 1%! I mean, by the narrowest of narrow margins, wasn't it really? But it was a little bit of a miscalculation. I thought DOGSTER LOBSTER had it, or it was going to be a draw, one of those two things. But oh my word, did Navi do well there, locking their feet firmly into the semi-finals, and I couldn't be happier for them.
Absolutely so. I mean, what a crazy match here as well. The first set, look, just how the casting just kind of expected it, right? Navi just not quite looking like their former selves, and DOGSTER LOBSTER playing as well as they have been for the last couple of months. But sets 2 and 3 were a totally different picture. Navi coming back incredibly strong. We're still one of the most ridiculous comps I've seen in a long time. The Buster, the Leon coming into the action with the max speed as well to just absolutely dominate in knockout. And then finally, on parallel plays, they close it out with an incredibly close clutch, 1%. And when I say the sentence about a miscalculation, I'm going to be honest. I didn't know who miscalculated just yet. I didn't know if it was Cube. I didn't know if it was DOGSTER LOBSTER. But it seems like, yeah, a little bit of a mistake there. It was super hard to call, let's be honest. And I can understand why they risked it, you know. It was 0.5% at most, but it was